أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بعد ما أحاط به علمه. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله الآخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم وقوله الحق وهو أصدق الصادقين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, Salamo alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, in the last few nights we have covered quite a few different topics and different personalities in Karbala, and inshallah you have learned so many different lessons from these nights. As we mentioned in the first night, commemoration of Karbala is very important, to commemorate it every year. And one of the reasons we said is that we learn. There's so much to learn from it, right? So much we can learn from Karbala, so that we can say that Karbala, or the event of Ashura, is actually a university. Tonight, inshallah, we're going to cover another personality and what did this person teach us with their actions in Karbala. And we're going to, inshallah, talk a little bit more about this person. Some of you might already guess who might this person be. This personality was a great figure, and he did a lot when it came to helping Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. So the verse that I quoted at the beginning, that's from Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 59. And it says, all those who believe, obey Allah, obey His Messenger, and people that are vested, or those who are vested with authority amongst you. So essentially, this verse is talking about obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, looking at the grammar, it's very clear. So you ati Allah wa Rasul and ulil amr minkum. Obey Allah, obey His Messenger, and ulil amr. Who are ulil amr? Who are those who are vested with authority amongst us? Right? People have different opinion. People say, the khalafa, whoever is the leader of the nation, the Islamic nation, that's basically. Some say, no, it's the muftis. Some say, for example, the scholars. Some say the marajah. But we say they are the imams. Why? Okay. All you have to do is look at the grammar of the verse. Because Allah says, ati Allah, obey Allah. And then says wa, and obey ati Rasul, and obey the Prophet. Allah does not say again, and obey ulul amr. Allah says, ati Rasula wa ulul amr minkum. So the obedience of ulul amr is the same as obedience to the Prophet, because when it comes to Allah and the Prophet, Allah brings the word obedience, obey twice. That means obeying Allah is different to obeying the Prophet, right? And then Allah does not bring the word obey again, which means those who are vested with authority, the ulul amr, should have similar qualities to the Prophet. That's why there is no another atio after. So the word obey has not been mentioned again. If it was just normal scholars that are there, the imam of the mosque, or some other people, or people in the government, the charge of the government, then Allah would have said wa atiul ulul amr. So Allah should have brought that. So the fact that Allah doesn't bring that just says that those who are vested with authority are referring to, they should have similar qualities to the Prophet. So their obedience is similar to the obedience of the Prophet. It could be no other than the imams. Now we as followers, we claim to be the followers of the imams, right? We follow our imams, and we claim to be the Shia, their followers. Therefore, we need to learn to obey them. We need to learn how should we treat our imams? How should we follow our imams? And in order to help us with that, we're going to look at one particular personality in Karbala who did do all of this and much more. He teaches us how to be a true follower. he teaches us how to obey your Imam, and he teaches us how to be selfless when it comes to your Imam. He teaches us that the Imam is way more important than you, and he teaches us to sacrifice yourself for the Imam and loyalty to our Imams. So everything that regard to the Imam, he teaches us. And that personality, or that person is none other than Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. Abu Fadl Abbas, let's look at a quick biography of who he is. Right? His father obviously is Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, and his mother was Fatima bin Huzam. Now, Imam Ali married someone, asked his brother Aqil to find me a wife from the tribe of warriors, because I want to have children, because Imam Ali was from a tribe of warriors himself. Now, if he marries someone who's from tribe of warriors again, the offspring, the children will be great warriors. They were great fighters. So his brother recommends the tribe of Bani Kilab and a lady by the name of Fatima. So when she marries Imam Ali, they have 4 sons, right? So Abu Fadl Abbas had 3 other brothers. And eventually, this lady Fatima comes to Imam Ali and says, do not call me Fatima anymore. Call me Ummul Banin, the mother of the boys, or the mother of the sons. So she gets that title. She gets known as Banin. So in our community today, she's known as, if you say Fatima bin Hizam, not many people know it, but if you say Banin, people know. So that's who his parents were. Obviously, the siblings. So Abu Fadl Abbas is basically half brother of Imam Hussein, alayhi salatu wassalam. But he never in his life called him my brother. He always respected Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein. He always referred to them as my master, right? As my leader, as my Imam. He never called them brothers. He did call Imam al-Hussein once brother, and we're going to come to that. Why did he call Imam al-Hussein his brother? But he always respected them. Absolute respect. So he was basically humble when it came to the Imams. He would never speak in their presence. And when I was a kid, so looking at the Abu Fadl Abbas character, right? So let's look at a few different things first, and then I'll share some personal experience as well. Abu Fadl Abbas has many different titles, right? He's known as Qamar Bani Hashim, the moon of Bani Hashim, right? He was known as Alamdar, for example, the flag bearer, the standard bearer in Karbala. He was the leader of the command. He was basically the center of attention. He was at the forefront of the army. It was right at the front, because the flag bearers, usually the person who carries the flag of the army in the olden days was the person who was the strongest, right? Who was the person that everybody feared. So he would be the flag bearer. And that was Abu Fadl Abbas. Imam Hussein gave it to him because everybody knew him. Why? Because people, especially people of Kufa, those people of Kufa that came and rose against Imam Hussein saw Abu Fadl Abbas 20 years ago when he was only a 13-year-old boy in Battle of Siffin, where he was fighting, and the enemy thought this was Ali ibn Abi Talib. They actually thought it was Imam Ali fighting. And when Imam Ali comes to the battlefield, they go, who is the other person? And the Imam Ali introduces him. He said, this is Abbas. This is my son. This is the Qamar Bani Hashim. This is the moon of Bani Hashim. He introduces him, and people see him, and they understand that he is someone strong. You can't mess around with him. He was trained by Imam Ali himself and by Imam al-Hasan. And then later, he becomes the trainer. He trains his nephews to become great soldiers, like Ali al-Akbar, for example, like Qasim, like Aoun Muhammad, the people that you've been hearing their names in the last few nights. They've been all trained by Abu Fadl Abbas. So that goes about his titles and about how brave he was. And that's why the enemy was so scared of him. The enemy would not dare to attack. Even though they had big numbers, but they were scared of him. Just one person. He was scaring everybody because he was a great warrior. Because they saw his father. They knew he's from, the line of, he's the son of Imam Ali. You can't mess around with him. And then Abu Fadl Abbas was such a loyal person. So he shows us loyalty, right? Loyalty is here. On a night like this, right? The night of Ashura, the night just before Ashura, right? Narrations say that Shimr ibn al-Joshan arrives in Karbala and he's pushing everything. So he wants to get things done. He comes and he seeks a meeting with Abu Fadl Abbas. So he comes to the camp of Imam al-Hussein and he seeks a meeting to see Abu Fadl Abbas. Why? Because he was from their tribe, Bani Kalab. He was from Bani Kalab as well. So he calls out and says, where are my sister's children? I want to see them. So Imam al-Hussein comes to Abu Fadl Abbas and says, he's here to see you. Go see him. He says, send him away. There's no way. Why would I meet him? I don't want to meet him. I don't want to see his face. He's my enemy. Imam said, that's just, just go see him. It's disrespectful. Now he is obedience. You see, he doesn't want to see him. He's his enemy. He hates him. But because his Imam tells him, go see him, he's come here to see you, go see him. See what he wants to say? He goes out of respect to his Imam. His Imam said, go, he's going. He doesn't care about his own personal feelings. So he goes. He goes and he talks. And Shimr brought a letter from Ubaidullah saying, basically, a letter saying that you're free, you're safe. Leave Hussein right now, take your brothers with you, and you will not be harmed in no way. This letter, you just show this letter to anyone. They will not harm you. You're safe. At that moment, narrations say that Abu Fadl Abbas becomes so furious. But he controlled his anger not to attack Shimr. And he told Shimr to take this and get out of here. I don't want to see your face. Woe be unto you. Why would you bring this to me? Do you think I'm going to abandon my master? You bring this to me and giving me safe passage where my Imam, the son of Fatima, is in danger? No way, get out of here, or I'm going to kill you. Scares him away, he goes. So again, you can see from this, just one example, obedience and loyalty. And he was such a great person that he would not do anything. He would not say, you and I, let's think about it. Just put yourself in that situation. You are somewhere that you know that you're gonna get slaughtered, you're gonna get killed. There's no way you're gonna survive, right? And then someone comes and say, you know what? We can protect you. We'll give you protection. Take this letter, go, you're safe. What would you do? Would you take it? Or would you do what Abu Fadl Abbas did? Not many people can do that, by the way. Now we all know, in the last few minutes we might have heard it, the water was cut. So the Imam's camp did not have access to the water. And as a result of this, the camp had little water. And from the 7th night, they basically had no more water. So the water was pretty much divided. Now, narration says the thirstiest person on that battlefield in Karbala in Day of Ashura was Imam al-Hussein, without a doubt. Obviously, he was the last to be killed, and he was there. He was going back and forth, so he was always thirsty. After Imam al-Hussein, without a doubt, the most thirstiest person was Abu Fadl Abbas. Why? Because remember, he was the flag bearer. Right? He had his little nephews and nieces, and they had limited water, so they used to share it. So everyone would get a certain share, and he used to keep his own share, not drink it. Why? In case those little kids come and say, "Oh, uncle, we are thirsty. Give us some water." So he has water to provide to them. And that's another sacrifice in itself. So, being selfless. He doesn't care about himself. He cares about the Imam. He cares about the children. He cares about others. And that's why he's given the title Saqqa, right? Saqi, the one who quenches the thirst, the one who provides water. Because he goes to bring water eventually. Now, when I was a kid, I used to think, you might have the same questions, right? I used to think to myself, because anytime Abu Fadl Abbas was mentioned, the speakers, the people would say, he's so great. He's given the title Babul Hawa'ij. Not many people have been given that title in the history. Babul Hawa'ij means the door of questions, door of problems, basically. So if you have a problem, if you're looking for an answer, right? If you want something, if you want Allah to give you something to solve, it's basically the door of solving everything. If you want Allah to bring you out of a particular problem, to solve a particular problem for you, they say go through Bab al-Hawaj. These people will solve it. They are the door to mercy. One of them is Abu Fadl Abbas, because of the sacrifice he did. When I was a kid, I used to hear all this, and I think to myself, I mean, what's so great about him? What did he do? I mean, he's not so special. Yes, he's the flag bearer, and then he goes to bring water. In the process, he dies, and then he's known to be with the greatest and the bravest, you know. But when you look at someone like, for example, some of the companions who went and fought and killed so many, why is he known as that? As I grew up thinking about this question, I started to realize a lot of different things. I started learning a lot of different things. You know, for those of you who play sport, you know, because this is one of the areas that I realized, you know, back in the years when I used to play soccer. Sometimes the coach, you know, used to take me out of the field and says, you know, sub me out, so you stay on the sideline and watch. And now my team is in trouble, and I know that I can make a difference because I believed in myself of, you know, being a good player. So I wanted to get on that field badly, begging my coach, let me go, let me get on the field. And my coach would say, no, just sit there. I used to get so frustrated. Sometimes, you know, I used to scream and shout at my coach, right? That's basically Abu Fadl Abbas. He's a warrior. There's a battlefield. He wants to get on that battlefield and he wants to make a difference. But the coach, Imam Hussein, says, no, you can't go. And he just says, okay, thank you. Not like me shouting and screaming, you know, being impatient. But he would say, he would accept it. Imam Hussein says, don't go. You know, he was frustrated because you could see him, but he couldn't go. Imam Hussein used to keep him and ask him to stay. You're not going anywhere. You're staying here. Everyone else is going. You're not going because you are the flag bearer. You fall, everything fall. You fall, the enemy can attack me from every direction. So eventually what happens, right? He gets permission to go, but not to battlefield, not to fight. He gets permission because he kept on coming. You know, he kept on coming, oh, my master. He wouldn't say my brother. He would say, oh, my master, please let me go. The Imam would say no. Before this event, remember I said how to follow an Imam, right? Our father Abbas had 3 other brothers who were there in Karbala. He gets them. He goes to them. He says, you know what? Get ready. You are going you're going to the battlefield and you're going to fight and you're going to die. No question asked. You're going to do it. Why? Because he knew Imam al-Hussein, in a few minutes, in a couple of hours, he's going to have to handle the death of his brothers. So the sadness of losing your brother, he would go through that pain. He wanted to feel the same pain of his Imam. See, this is a follow-up. He wants to feel the pain of his Imam. He wants to follow Imam. He wants to follow his Imam in every way possible. He knows his Imam is gonna suffer. He's gonna have a certain pain. He wants to have that pain. So he gets his brothers. You're gonna go and you're gonna fight. You're gonna die, and I'm gonna endure. I'm gonna be patient with it. I'll become patient, just like my brother. I want to feel what he feels. And then he's given permission to go bring only water. So he takes a spear with him and the water skin or the water container. He doesn't take his sword. He doesn't take his shield with him. Remember what I said about loyalty, about obedience. His master, his Imam has told him, you can go bring water. Now the mission of Abu Fadl Abbas is to bring water only. That's his entire mission. He does not care about anything else. Bringing that water and giving it to the kids that are thirsty is his mission. So he cuts through the enemy. He gets to the Euphrates. He goes into the river and he fills the water skin. Something amazing happens here, which no one can explain in the history. This is his ultimate sacrifice. This is his ultimate loyalty and obedience is shown here. He enters that river And for those of you who have been to Karbala, you know that the water of the river is a little bit cool. He grabs the water, he's about to drink it, and then he throws the water back. He says, no, I'm not going to drink it. There's no way. And there's obviously there's lines he says that, you know, or selves, how could you drink this water? He's talking to himself. He's saying, how dare you drink this water? Your master is thirsty. Your children are thirsty, right? The children, they're waiting for you. They're thirsty. You want to sit here and drink water? Now I tell you, if Abu Fadl Abbas drank from that water, he would have got energized, right? And no one in the history could have blamed him for it. No one would say to him, not even the Prophet, not even the Imams would ask him, or not even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have told him, what did you drink? What did you drink from the water? Well, I was thirsty. I drank to get more energy so I could fight. He could have done it. No one would have questioned what he did. Now, for a lot of us, it's hard. When I was a kid, it was hard for me to comprehend this. You know, what's the big deal? So you get water, you don't drink it. It's not a sacrifice. I couldn't understand this until many years later. When it was the month of Ramadan, I was fasting and I used to work outdoors, and I used to do like it was a physical work. Tired, you know, and I experienced this. And I tell you, do this. Summer is coming, right? On a hot summer day, fast, right? But do, you know, mustahab fast, so you can break it anytime. Don't do wajib fast. Just do a mustahab fast. And then throughout the day, be outdoors. Do a lot of activities. You're gonna get thirsty. It's gonna get hot. You're gonna get thirsty, but you can't drink water. You're fasting. And then go to, you know, do wudu, or, you know, wash your face, wash your hands. That's when you understand the sacrifice Abu Fadl Abbas makes. Because the minute you touch that water and the coolness of that water touches your fingertips, your hands, your entire body starts becoming cools down. Every cell in your body tells you to drink, right? You have to go against your own desires. You have to have that much self-control. You have to have such a high taqwa, piety, to say, you know what? I need this. And Abu Fadl Abbas, or, you know, to make it even better, on a hot summer day, don't fast, but go outside, do activities, you know, some sort of activity or work. You're going to get tired and thirsty. Come to the water, to the tap, wash your hands and wash your face, but don't drink water. Can you resist that? No way. You probably will drink water before washing your hands. You're probably going to jump into the tap and start drinking water. It's hard to control yourself. I experienced it. When it happened to me, I was fasting on a summer day, for example, once, I remember a few years ago. And I did so much activity on that day. I was thirsty, went to wash my face, went to wash my hands, and I could feel the water. I could feel that coolness. I wanted to drink, but I couldn't. Obviously, I was fasting. It was month of Ramadan. I couldn't drink. I had to stop myself, you know. But Abu Fadl Abbas didn't have to. He didn't have to stop, but he stopped. That's a great sacrifice in itself, right? That shows his greatness. That shows his obedience. Yet again, he gets the water. He mounts his horse. He goes. Now his entire mission, remember what I said, his entire mission, what's going in his head is that I have to get this water skin, that I have to get this water to the tents. I don't care how, I don't care what happens in the process. He's not fighting. He didn't go to fight. He's going to get that. That's his mission. So his imam told him that go get water. And that's what he's doing. His entire mission, his entire focus is that I have to get this water to the tent. He doesn't care about anything else. Ask yourself the question. Okay, let me ask myself the question. Would I do the same thing? If the imam of my time comes right now and asks me, you know what? Do this. Or don't do this. You know, let's say, for example, there's a particular action that I do and it's not appropriate, but I do it. It's part of me now. Imam says, don't do it. Right? Let's say, for example, I like to do this business deal that's gonna make me a millionaire. But Imam comes and says, don't do it. Would I say no and listen to the Imam? Or would I say, you know what, get out of here? You know, as Brother Jaweed mentioned, Brother Jaweed was relating Karbala to today. How does Karbala relate today? And you saw examples of that. Am I ready to say to the Imam, yes, Atiyu Allah wa atiyu Rasulahu wa ulil amri minkum, remember, obeying them? Am I ready to obey? Abu Fadl Abbas was doing that. He was obeying him. And he was going. And you know the stories. They cut his right hand. They cut his left hand. They hit him so much. And when they do that, he tells himself, O soul, do not be scared. Wallahi in qata'tum yamini inni uhami abadan andini. Oh, if by God, if you cut my right arm, I'm not going to stop protecting the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My Imam is there and I'm going to protect him. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So if they cut his arms, he doesn't care. His mission is to get the water to the tent. He's charging. He's got the water skin by his mouth and he's charging. And he's telling his soul, La nafs, la takhsha min al-kuffar. Oh soul, do not be scared of the kuffar. Do not be scared of these people. Just go. Nothing can happen to you. Your Imam is more important. He's charging and he's charging and charging. And then the enemy starts to showering him with arrows. One of the arrows hit the water skin. And the water drops. At that moment, the historian says, the narration says that he lost hope. He stopped. He stopped where it was. He didn't go. He didn't move any further. He stopped his horse. He stood there. Didn't move. Why? Why didn't he go? Because his mission was to get water. Right? Now he can't get the water back. Now he can't do anything. He doesn't have any arms anymore. He just stands there. He lost his entire hope. An arrow comes, hit his eye. And another enemy comes and hits his head with the mace. And he loses his balance. He falls. Picture this, falling off a horse. And Abu Fadl Abbas, because of his height, he had to get, like big horses, that they were as tall as possible. Falling off a horse, an arrow in your eye, you have no hands. What are you going to do? How would you protect yourself? Usually when you fall, you use your hands to protect you, so your face doesn't get hurt. But he has no arms. He has no hands. There's an arrow in his eye. He falls down, right? Sitting there, lying down. Enemy attacks him from every direction. They started hitting him. He's trying to take the arrow off his eye. But how is he going to do that? He can't see anything. His face is covered with blood. He's lying on the ground. And that's the moment that he says, Ya akha, adrik akha. Imam Hussein hears the call. Oh brother, come and save your brother. Now obviously Imam is happy in a way because this is the first time he's called him brother. But the question is, why would he call him brother? Because the narrations say that at that moment, Abu Fadl Abbas saw Sayyidah Fatima. Sayyidah Fatima came to him and referred to him as her own son. That is why Abu Fadl Abbas got the courage to call his brother, not to call him master anymore, because Sayyidah Fatima called him my son. He got the courage to do it, and he did it only once. And Imam al-Hussein comes, again, another sacrifice, another thing. Imam al-Hussein comes. Look at it. Look how he wants to be like his Imam. Wants to feel the pain of his Imam. Imam al-Hussein comes and he sees the situation. He can't see anything. Remember, his face is covered with blood. And he calls out, whoever you are, please, don't kill me yet. Wait for my brother. I'm waiting for my brother. Imam al-Hussein comes and says, I'm your brother. He approaches him. He puts his head, just like all the other companions, all the other family members before, Imam al-Hussein used to put their head on his lap. Every time he did that, Imam Abu Fadl Abbas used to move his head. Imam kept on asking him, what are you doing? Relax, just relax. He says, no. In an hour or so, your head will be on the floor, on this hot sand, and no one's going to be there for you. So therefore, I want to feel your pain. I want to be like you. And then he asked Imam al-Hussein, he says, do not take me, leave me right here. Because Imam al-Hussein used to take the bodies and take it to the tent. He says, leave my body here, don't touch it, please. Because I can't go back. I can't face the children like this. They asked me for water. They asked me for one thing and I couldn't do it. He was ashamed. He was saying sorry to Imam al-Hussein because he was ashamed. He was thinking, I had one mission and I couldn't do it. That's obedience. That's taslim. And at that moment, Imam al-Hussein goes back and Imam al-Hussein says that now my backbone is broken. Now that's it. I'm broken. I lost my support. There is no more Abbas. There is no flag bearer. Who's going to protect this army? Now the enemy can come from every direction. Now Abu Fadl Abbas has such a high status because of his sacrifice and what he did, that he was given the title Bab al-Hawa'ij. That if you have a problem, you can go through him. You can ask Allah in the name of Abu Fadl Abbas and know that most likely whatever you need will be given to you, because he did so much sacrifice. His sacrifice was great. He was a true follower. He showed you and I how to follow your Imam, because remember, you and I have an Imam to follow. Are we like Abu Fadl Abbas? If the enemy comes to you and gives you protection, would you accept it? Or would you stay by your Imam? If your Imam asks you to do something, would you listen to it even though your soul, your body, your mind, everything else wants to do the opposite? Would you say, no problem, my master. Yeah, Imam, I'm going to listen to you. You say don't do it, I'm not going to do it even though I want to do it. Right? When your Imam gives you a mission, when Imam asks you to do something, are you willing to put your entire mind on that? Are you willing to feel the pain of, like right now, you and I, are we ready to feel the pain of our Imam? Just think of the pain that Imam goes through right now. Can I feel that pain? Am I going to feel that pain? Ziyarat Nahiya, which is recommended to recite tomorrow, Imam Mahdi says that I wish I was there. I'll cry, but I'll cry, not tears, blood. I'll cry blood. My tears are like blood. That's how I cry. Are we ready to feel the pain of our Imam? No, we're not. We're not. Imam is seeing all of this injustice happening as well, just like you and I. But he doesn't have permission to do anything. He doesn't have permission to come and rise yet. What are we doing? Where are we standing in this position? Abu Fadl Abbas' status reaches to a point, so if you look at his ziyarah, he has a special ziyarah, and he has his own special place. Of course, when you go to Karbala, those of you who went there, you've seen his shrine, he has his own special place. The language used in his ziyarah is the language that is used for the rest of the Ma'sumin. So his status was as high as an Imam, but obviously he wasn't an Imam, because his father was Imam Ali, but his mother was not Sayyidah Fatima, because the Imams are the children of Sayyidah Fatima and Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. His mother was not Sayyidah Fatima. Otherwise, he would have been an Imam. He could have been an Imam. He had the qualities of an Imam. His status was so high that Imam Hussein believed it. Imam Hussein accepted. Imam Hussein said, Imam Sajjad said, for example, that in his ziyarah, if you look at the ziyarah for Abu Fadl Abbas, what they use, the language used there, for those of you who want to delve into Arabic grammar, the language used for the ziyarah of Abu Fadl Abbas is exactly the same language used for ziyarah for Imam Hussein, for example. That's his status. That's how high his status goes. So ask yourself, brothers and sisters, am I ready? Am I ready to be a follower? Am I really a follower? If I'm a follower, will I do what Abu Fadl Abbas did? Okay, I'm going to end the session there. You guys have any questions? In regard to tonight?
Sorry, this is a little bit off topic, but how did historians take note of what was happening? Because if those people around, wouldn't they help Imam Hussein?
Yes, the narrations that are obviously, for example, there was one particular person who was basically sitting on the fence, right? He was just watching everything. They were just watching. So remember, it's a little bit difficult, to put yourself in a situation. You see a battlefield, you see a massive number, right? And then you see a small army. Who you gonna help? If you help the enemy, you're gonna end up in hellfire. But if you go help Imam Hussein, for example, right, you're gonna get killed in the process. So they don't want to die. They love themselves, so they're not gonna go. The narration says there were some people who were watching the events from a distance, everything, and they took notes of everything. But on top of that, there were imams. Imam Sajjad was there, Sayyidah Zainab was there, the children were there. They saw what happened and they narrated. All right. I'm gonna ask you a quick question. How many imams were in Karbala on that day, on the day of Ashura? One. How many imams were present in Karbala on the day of Ashura?
Wait, was it like 3 or was there more? Oh, 1.
One, definitely. I expect everyone to say 1 because Imam Hussein was there. Were there more? I'm trying to ask. If there were more, how many and what were their names?
Wait, was Imam Sadiq there?
Imam Sadiq? No, he wasn't even born.
Wait. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Hold on.
I expect everybody. Come on, guys. There's plenty of you. There's, Atik said 1. Everybody agreed there was 1? First of all, unmute yourself. Come on, guys. So do you agree that Imam Azimuth? Okay. Yeah. Zain al-Abidin, you mean? Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam Sajjad, the 4th Imam. Does everyone agree there were 3 Imams? So Imam Hussein and his son. Imam Zain al-Abidin.
Yes, I agree.
Everybody agree with that? Good. What about
Yeah,
3 or 4? Anyone think there were 3 or 4?
I reckon there was 3.
There were 3. Who was the 3rd one?
Wait, would it be the next one, Muhammad al-Baqir? Or was he born then?
Yeah, of course. If it's gonna be a 3rd Imam, it has to be Imam al-Baqir. It can't be Imam, for example, Sadiq al-Kadhib, right? Because they were his children.
Yeah.
Right. So logically, it has to be Imam al-Baqir. Yes, there was actually 3 Imams. Imam Baqir was very young, 3 years old. He was there. He was actually there and he saw everything. He was a very young child. He was a young boy, but he was there. So 3 Imams were there, right? And they saw it. And Imam Sajjad lived 35 years after so he lived on 35 years after the event of Karbala. He died. He was martyred 35 years later. So he's 35 years. He was telling people what happened. They used to tell people what happened to them. Sayyidah Zainab.
Wait, why Yazid then? Because if Yazid knew that they were gonna spread the truth and spread the word, and because they were the family of the Prophet, people were gonna believe them. Like, how come he let them?
I'm gonna make it very short,
Yeah.
and tomorrow night I'll answer it as well. Remember if it cuts out, and I'll ask me tomorrow the question. Yazid had no choice but to let him go because of the speeches that they gave. But Imam Sajjad